On yet another matter, this week, Supreme Court nominee Judge Neil Gorsuch came before the Senate Judiciary Committee for his confirmation hearing. Senators from both sides had the opportunity to ask him questions. Both they and the American people were able to learn more about Judge Gorsuch, about the type of jurist he's been and will continue to be, about his character and temperament, and about his aptitude to serve on the Supreme Court. His answers reflected what we've all come to find about the judge over the past several weeks. He has sterling credentials and a reputation as a fair and impartial jurist. He's also known to be a gifted writer, smart, kind, and humble, and independent. As I mentioned yesterday, his impressive testimony has caught the attention of publications, news outlets, and commentators from across the country and across the political spectrum. In a panel discussion just yesterday, an MSNBC commentator noted Judge Gorsuch's masterful performance, one that he called a tour de force, a tour de force. Another panelist, an NBC correspondent, had a complimentary view of the nominee as well, noting that in terms of character, in terms of professionalism, and in terms of integrity, there wasn't, I would argue, anything or hardly anything there to criticize Gorsuch on. And the Wall Street Journal noted that Gorsuch stressed his independence throughout the hearing. The Detroit News echoed these observations and has urged the Senate to confirm it. It editorialized that after 2 days of often hostile hearings, Supreme Court nominee Neil Gorsuch is proving himself even-tempered, deeply knowledgeable, and who should be confirmed by the Senate. The paper also noted that Judge Gorsuch is eminently qualified, that he is coming across in the hearings as the very image of a thoughtful jurist. He displayed an impressive depth of knowledge and admirable patience, and he's carefully followed past practice of judicial nominees in refusing to say how he'd rule on specific issues. And his independence is really without question at this point. The American Bar Association, which awarded Judge Gorsuch his highest rating, unanimously well qualified, recently submitted testimony to the Judiciary Committee. Here's what the Bar Association had to say about Judge Gorsuch's independence. Our evaluation process provided an excellent opportunity to gain a glimpse at whether Judge Gorsuch is a judge who ascribes to the concept of an independent judiciary. Based on the writings, interviews, and analyses we scrutinized to reach our rating, we discerned that Judge Gorsuch believes strongly in the independence of the judicial branch of government, and we predict that he will be a strong but respectful voice in protecting it. The ABA went on. As one interviewee noted with alacrity, Judge Gorsuch has grit, which he gets from being a multi-generational Westerner. Another stated he is dedicated to the constitutional doctrine of separation of powers and to the independence of the judiciary. Yet another observed, in addition to his outstanding academic credentials and brilliant mind, Judge Gorsuch's demeanor and written opinions during his tenure on the 10th Circuit Court of Appeals demonstrates that he believes unwaveringly in the rule of law and judicial independence. In my opinion, he is exceptionally well qualified to serve as a justice of the Supreme Court of the United States. Certainly agree with that. This is from the American Bar Association, an organization that the Democratic leader and former Democratic chairman of the Judiciary Committee have deemed the gold standard for evaluating nominees. In addition, the Assistant Democratic leader acknowledged yesterday that Judge Gorsuch is very gifted, has a great background and service as judge. But despite the judge's outstanding performance, his exceptional background, and the extensive support he's received from people of all political leanings, we know that some Senate Democrats will continue trying to come up with any reason to delay the confirmation process. It's not the first time we've seen our friends across the aisle engage in obstructionist tactics. In fact, we just saw a historic level of obstruction when it came to confirming the president's cabinet. We know that our colleagues are under a great deal of pressure from the far left. We know some of these groups are calling for them to resist. We know that even more than 4 months after the election, some on the far left simply refuse to accept the outcome of last year's election. Well, it's past time to move on from that mindset and return to the serious business of governing. One way we can do so is by confirming Judge Gorsuch as the next Supreme Court justice without delay. He's a proven jurist, he's an outstanding intellect, he's earned the respect and admiration of so many Democrats, independents, and Republicans alike. He is also unquestionably independent. Today, we'll hear even more praise for Judge Gorsuch as witnesses come before the Judiciary Committee. I would urge my colleagues to show him the fair consideration he deserves and ultimately to come together in supporting his nomination in the days ahead.